Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you America's top foundational health coach, Dr. Joe D.
Hey there, I'm Jody Bear, and I am so graciously glad that you took your time, especially during this time of year. You took your time out to be with us today. This is just Jody saying it's a sparkly time of year. We've got sparkles, we've got everything going, but this is the time of hope. And this is a really, really pink day that we're doing, a pink evening and a pink afternoon, because our guest, it's part two. We've never done this before, but it's that good. And he is that good to have hormone doctor, Dr. Glen Depke, back again today for part two of Menopause. He's putting the men in menopause. And if you don't know our program, I will just say I'm so grateful to say that we're coming up to our third year with Traverse TV. Who knew? Who knew that we'd have this long-standing arrangement? Who knew that the context of life's milkshake moment? Life is like a milkshake. Choose your ingredients wisely, and when you do, life will be oh so sweet. And that involves health. As many of you know that have listened, and if you don't, I've been 43 years as a holistic health coach and nutritionist. My work and my body of work when I had a brick and mortar practice was weight loss. I've had the honor of taking 30,000 clients through over 1.1 million pounds of toxic weight lost and only at 5% recidivism rate. We'll be getting ready for that again in January, and I'll have a program for you. But in the meantime, once the pandemic hit, I had retired. Well, as my colleague Bill Janicek said, the one that introduced me to Glen Depke in the first place, said, the only thing you don't know how to do, Jody, is retire. Because my husband said, Jody, people need you. I had nothing. I had to build my love's milkshake moment over. My circumvent of my clients, those were no longer mine. I had no building. I had no web experience, but I knew I had a vision and a hope to help the people that were going through COVID-19. And now post-pandemic, I can say that over 3,000 of my client patients have begun to restart, regenerate, and rejuvenate their lives. The good news, ladies and gentlemen, those pounds of unwanted weight gain, that rejuvenation and restarting of your life, it can be yours as well. Because as I always say, no food tastes as good as health feels. And no next year is going to feel better than 2024, the year of Joe D turning 70. That rhymes too, and I am ready to go and grow for you. You know, that 8th decade, my engineering son, as he said, Mom, it's not your 7th decade. You got to count. It's your 8th decade. So what does the 8 mean? It means rejuvenation. It means foundation. It means wisdom and wealth. So that's what I will give to you, my listening audience, my viewing audience, of all of you that see it on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and everywhere else. I will absolutely give my best to you. You see, that 100% passion with no emotion is what I built this on. This is what I built my practice on. This is what I'm building this show on. I just have to share one thing, because when I would look back at 2023, 2 things happened. I found my goal card that I wrote for 2023. As many of you know that have followed the story all along, my husband and I have been out of our house post Hurricane Ian for 11 months. I wrote my goal in January, but guess what? Then we left January 24th. You know how you forget things? Well, today, now that we're day 5, we're back in our house. I wrote on my resolution card, this 2023 is the year that Healthopedia will be birthed. Who knew? I didn't have a solo book. And we didn't have this book. Now we've got a company. So when you're starting and thinking about your goals, when you're starting and thinking, what do I want to do for the next year? Write it down, make it visible, make it there, because you never, ever know. Little did I know that I would end up this year in review in December as I'm in Chateau up in Brazelton, Georgia, north of Atlanta with my husband. And I'm awarded the Lifetime Presidential Achievement Award. I can't even say the words. Let me do it again. The Presidential Lifetime Achievement Award given by the White House, shaking Ron Klain's hand, chief of staff, and being there was a moment I'll never forget. So get ready. You'll see the year in review, and you'll see somebody as our guest next week, Sean Peters, that I met, who will take your media, your goals to the next level. But for right now, I can say we all put our underwear on one leg at a time. Coming into my 70s, I'm still little Jody Bear with that ponytail, those bright eyes that were brown, they haven't changed, and that vision that I wanted to be the best that I could be. Who knew that this would happen to me? Well, if it can happen to me, it can happen to you. Write your goals down this next year in all 6 pillars of your life: spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, social, and financial. And it really does start with your physical. Glen Depke absolutely is a part of that, because when you feel better, you do better. And ladies, we know when the horrors are moaning, it's a bad deal. It just is. You don't feel your best, so you can't do your best. And so knowing that here, all of this happened to me in 2023, what is going to happen to you? Remember, as Les Brown says, live from the hunger of your own heart, because when you do, and you look for those things that you want to achieve the most from the hunger of your heart, the world will always make it come to pass. And frankly, before I introduce and bring us up to speed with Dr. Glen Depke, I will say we're going to listen from one of our sponsors from Boca, from our authorship that, yes, went international bestseller in all 13 markets that Amazon serves in 6.5 hours. Shannon Roper, NP. She will be down in Boca. She will be here. We almost have our seats sold out, so get yours today. You'll be seeing this throughout the broadcast. We want you to be a part of our tribe if it speaks to you. But Shannon Roper is out of Carlsbad, New Mexico. She is one of our sponsors for Boca 2024 on the 22nd, the 24th through the 24th of February. So let's take a look. Let's take a listen to someone who knows about hormones and women's health. Roper's Health Oasis.
Shannon Roper, board-certified family nurse practitioner, CEO, and founder of Roper's Health Oasis, located in beautiful Carlsbad, New Mexico. Shannon took her vision of true holistic healthcare to promote wellness instead of illness and show you how you can live between office visits, as Dr. Bernie Siegel says. She has your best interest as a priority and incorporates the 6 pillars of health into each day. Join Shannon along with the other 39 authors as she elevates Healthopedia and creates a real health oasis for you and your life.
And Shannon will be there demonstrating in Boca some of her main things that she does to help women. And it'll be virtually, and she does it with men too. But men don't have the issues that we do. We know that, ladies. But I will just say, make sure when you see, this is going to go away in just a minute, is a new branded YouTube channel. I would ask that you go to Healthopedia 365. Go to us on Instagram at Healthopedia 365. Go ahead and subscribe there. There are over 200 broadcasts by absolute amazing practitioners. Almost all of our 40 authors are back there. And you'll be hearing what you can find out from Dr. Glen Depke here and what we're coming up. It's just going to be a surprise what we're going to do. We kind of alluded to it, but we're just going to, keep it out there. So make sure at the end of this broadcast, you'll see this, but this is where you can go ahead and get your ticket for Boca. It's at my website, upcoming events. You can see all of the speakers. Live will be Kimberly Meredith, Rex Sykes, Jamie Kerr. Gary Sanchez will be taking us through all of his YOS. Serena Brown Travis. Dame Doria Cordova is coming back from her Asia Pacific tour just to be with us. And I can say there's many, many more. Dr. Bernie Siegel will be with us virtually, but it will be an absolute time to remember because you're going to learn and experience the process. But tonight, you're going to experience the process from one and only Glen Depke. I'm just going to kind of bring you up to speed with his introduction that I put from last week, or excuse me, it was 3 weeks ago that we did our broadcast. So you can find that on our YouTube channel, Healthopedia 365. Just put his name, Glen, GlenDepke. It's Joe D and Depke tonight. That's what we are. So just know that we are going to be there, and you can hear this kind of preamble to what we're going to be talking about tonight. So let me just bring you up to speed, but I really want to go ahead and put this up so you know these are the dates. Live, our February summit, February 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Be looking for a new article by Tom Chesser. It will be hitting the day after Christmas Day, and it will be hitting on us. Indexed as we did, we Googled and we trended on Google for 72 hours. You'll hear about the process. You'll know about Dr. Jim and my vision with this. You'll hear everything, but you'll hear what we're going to do and what you're going to see here on the 22nd. For right now, we are here. Gosh, on the 21st, it's the first day of winter. So it may be cold where you are, but it's going to be hot here in just a minute because and it's not going to be a hot flash. I'm just like going to say he's going to take care of those too, but it's going to be a hot time here tonight. We really, really mean it because what we do here is holistic health. You've heard me say, I'm not holistic. Yes, I am. I'm not half-listic. He talks about it in his YouTube video and Dr. Glen Depke in his website, and I'll be putting this up, that he doesn't treat the symptoms. That would be like me being half-listic. No, I am holistic. We treat it from the root of the cause. Dr. Glen Depke is known as the happiness hormone doctor. Oh, that's happiness and hormones. Wouldn't you like that, ladies? You're going to find out tonight, and you're going to find out so you can get a piece of the action there. Absolutely. He goes body, mind, and spirit, fit for life. He said, as being the happiness doctor, feel and look younger. Just loved live TV when it works. Here we go. We just lost a camera. Now we're back. Okay. But he is a naturopathic doctor for 19 years, almost 2 decades, the decades of Depke doing this work. He is a trainer, speaker, and life and women's health coach, just living life big. You can see him oftentimes when he's not traveling. I capture him for being on Doctor Talk. We're going to have another deal about anxiety on the first of the year, but life's milkshake moments. This is a first. I'm going to say welcome to the stage, Dr. Glen, for episode part 2, taking care of pre, post, and putting the men in menopause. You are the man. I made the background very pink today. Welcome.
I love it. I love it. Thank you, Jody. Thank you for the introduction. And as always, it is such a pleasure to be here with you.
Well, and you just make it a pleasure too. Cameras falling off. I guess probably I just got so excited by just having you here. And I love it. You're saying, I'm just going to put this up, feel young again. Why not? Why not feeling? I was telling my husband, Glen, I feel now better now than I did when I turned 50. And it's because if you do what you do, you'll get what you have, and you can get what I've got. And a lot of it has to do with what you're going to be teaching today. So just if you want to give us a little bit of a review and put the puzzle pieces, as we do with the puzzle pieces of health together, go ahead and do that for our listening audience if they didn't get into part 1, please.
Yes. So part one, one of the big things that I wanted to get through in part one is just the understanding that the symptoms. This is what really is. I was going to say crack me up, but that's maybe, let's say, use the word interesting. Is that most women think of menopause symptoms as hot flashes, weight gain, mood swings, sleeplessness, brain fog, low libido, just and the list goes on. Yet the simple fact is those are not symptoms of menopause. The only two true symptoms of menopause are you no longer have a monthly cycle and you cannot conceive, and that is it. Everything else is a symptom of an underlying condition that's probably been brewing for a number of years that was never addressed prior to menopause. Because very simply, the female body, this is one of the ways I like to explain this. Whether you believe in God, the universe, or whatever it may be, I want you to ask yourself a question if you're a woman. If you believe in God, do you believe that God constructed your body in a way that it falls apart at 50 years old? That makes
No,
no sense whatsoever,
no,
right?
no. Not if you're,
And
not if I say if you're supposed to live to be 120, he wouldn't want you to fall apart at 50.
100%. And the female body is already designed when your ovaries stop the production of the hormones such as progesterone and estrogens, and even the testosterone that's going to be produced from adrenals. Your body is already designed to pick up the slack to maintain proper hormonal balance post-menopausal. Yet here's the big problem, Jody, and I think this is the biggest thing. Like you mentioned earlier, that it's a much bigger problem for women, but here's the reason why. Men have the opportunity to be significantly symptomatic with andropause as well, but the reason why so many more women suffer with what we call menopause symptoms is simply because, and you know what, I might be the only man you're going to hear this from, is because men have it really easy. You see, women prior to menopause, because I've worked with women. I've been in practice for 24 years. I've been working with hormones for 19 years, and I work not exclusively, but mostly with women. And what I've seen in my practice is women spend, they take care of their husband, they take care of their children, they take care of their home. Very often, they're involved in church or community. And you work a full-time job too. So by the time you
Full
reach
hand.
menopause years, right,
That's a full
that's
hand.
the
It's
that's the
already
big
full.
five, right?
Yes, yes.
And so by the time a woman reaches menopause years, that system that should keep your hormones in balance is blown out because you've been overworked and overstressed and overwhelmed for literally 3 decades.
The
And
hormones are shot. Yeah,
your
the
hormones are
adrenals,
shot.
and the adrenals, they're no longer those little hats staying on top of their kidneys. They're like shriveled up.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's no wonder why so many more women have menopause symptoms than men have andropause symptoms, because, like I said, men have it easy. And women have been taking on more than their fair share of work like I said, overwhelmed, overstressed, and overworked. And you know what? It's got to stop. And it really, the way I look at it, it's got to stop now. And women have to stop being lied to about what you're told are symptoms of menopause, because when you go through menopause with a healthy, what I always refer to as an HPA axis, you go through menopause with only, remember, two symptoms. You can no
Yes.
longer have a monthly cycle and you can't conceive anymore, and that is it.
Okay. Before we go on, because there are going to be people out there asking, what is HPA axis?
It stands for hypothalamus, pituitary, and adrenal axis,
Okay,
and that's the
yeah, excuse
what's
me.
that?
You've heard enough. You've heard enough from him. Make sure you go to and take a screenshot of this. This intro on Glen Depke's website is unfreaking believable. But I want to put this up right here and right now because I'm promoting this. Why? Because I know this guy. I'm promoting this. He's doing a class. I know. I'm not going to put this at the end. It's going to be at the beginning, and then we're going to go on, Glenn. Is that okay?
Absolutely.
Okay, check this out. Free ebook gift opens in a new tab. It's everything that could get you access. And he's doing a class just for we women. But let's come back to my next question that popped in my head. Is there some kind of a prevention? I mean, that you can overcome this? Let's say I've been working. I've been like I was just thinking. I really was. My two daughters-in-laws. one is a business owner, the other's an MD. They work, they've got kids, they've got and they're getting to that age, and they maybe they just didn't know. All right, they didn't know about all of this. So what can you do to overcome this? You say, okay, wish I would have met Glenn in my 20s. I didn't. Here I am. How can you prevent or overcome this?
Yeah, and that's the big key, and it's really a three-step process, and it's a simple process that's easy to be walked through and to achieve. And yet, one of the things that's most important is that all three aspects of this process have to be addressed. All right, so whether you're looking to prevent symptoms of menopause or overcome those and get back into the hormone balance that you is your birthright, that you really not only want but you really truly deserve, is that the first process is you have to take care of the simple things. You have to take care of what I always refer to as your fundamentals of health. Now, because this is so important, that's that free gift that Jody pasted up there for you in that link. That's a free ebook to my book that's called Fat, Fatigued, and Frustrated. And what that ebook is that is an action step guide for all of your fundamentals. Because if you can't do the simple things correctly and maintain balance in your life, you can't expect anything else after that to really work for you. So that book will give you the action step guides of how to properly deep breathe, how much water you should drink. It'll get into nutrition. It will get into your proper sleep habits. It will address movement, whether this be activity and bodily movement or movement to your vertebrae or movement of your colon. It'll also talk about what we would consider healthy sun exposure and the big foundation of all of that, which is what's going on mentally, emotionally, and energetically in your body. And that book will be the starting point. It'll be the catapult to move you forward into really the next two steps, which we'll get into shortly.
Okay, so what am I going to say? Get the book, audience. Get the book. Take a screenshot. I'm going to make sure that my whole database is going to know this, because I know a ton of women. I spent a lot of my time with women, and I spent my whole entire life as a woman. So what's number two?
All right, number two, you got to test your hormones, and you have to test them correctly. That's the key. See, most of the time when women are testing hormones, they're looking at blood. They're maybe looking at estrogens, progesterone, testosterone, and maybe cortisol, and that's it. And there's two problems with that. Number one, it's not comprehensive enough. When I'm looking at hormones, I'm looking at a combination of 32 different hormones to see how everything is interacting together. And I'm never using blood. So you see, because when you use blood, you're only getting the picture of the hormonal response in that one very moment of time. I'm always looking at a full 24-hour urine collection where you're looking at the collection and the movement of hormones throughout the day to have the biggest understanding of what's going on with every aspect of your hormones, how all of these are affecting and interacting with each other. And on top of that, you don't just look at the hormones specifically. You're also looking at how your kidney function is affecting this, how your liver is affecting this, because your liver is responsible for the metabolism and hydroxylation of estrogens. You're going to look at chronic disease factors could be affecting it, and where you're at from an inflammatory perspective that can also be really affecting your hormones on a significant level. And like, to me, if you don't look at all of that, almost don't look at anything.
No, okay. Glenn's not supposed to hear this, ladies, but you get the picture. He's really good. He really knows what he's doing. Get the book, okay? Keep going. What's number three?
Number three, the other thing I want you to understand is, let's say hypothetically your hormone results come back and they're an issue. Well, no kidding. If you're having menopause symptoms, I can basically, nobody can guarantee anything, but I can basically guarantee you that yes, you are going to have some hormonal issues. Now, what I want you to understand though is when your hormones are off, it is not a hormone problem. The problem is what's driving the hormonal problem. So what are the triggers for this? This is one of the big things. This is why so many women get stuck on, like taking estrogen and progesterone the rest of their life, because they don't get to the bottom of the problem. You want to think of it from the perspective of what has blown my hormonal system out. Now, of course, there's the mental, emotional stress, but on top of that, there's physical stressors, most tied into inflammation. The inflammation can be driven by poor diet. It can be driven by food sensitivities. It can be driven by infections, most commonly in the gut. It can be driven by chronic injury, overuse of the body. It can be driven by toxicity. And that's really the key, because when you can take away the triggers, when you can know where your hormones are and balance them appropriately at the core, and take care of those triggers while focusing on your fundamentals, guess what? You
Yes,
get
what?
to escape those symptoms. You get to get back
Yeah.
into, and I'll tell you, most women that I've talked to through the years, the two true symptoms of menopause, where you can't conceive and you don't have a monthly cycle, most of them are pretty darn excited about that. It's the
Yeah.
rest of them
It's
that,
the rest of this, the rest of the five, and of those five, and the rest of those seven. And you think about the foundations and the toxicity. My a lot of the focus of my practice has always been getting the parasites out, and a parasitic. When you can do that together with all of this, that is amazing. That is amazing. So I want to skip on through. I mean, do you get, ladies? I just want to say this. Glen's not listening. He's really good. He really knows what he's talking about. Get the book. Come to the class. Okay, and I wanted to flash. This is locally Glen's out of California, as well as Dr. Bill Janacek being there. But I wanted to just go ahead and whip this up again. The Menopause, the free book. I'm going to keep that up there. But I'd like to get into. I mean, almost 2 decades. You've seen so much, and as I was saying, you were talking about drinking lots of water. My water intake, trying to put this house of ours back together, with the toothbrush being found in my lingerie drawer, and boxes. Oh, it's like every single one of these 400 boxes, it's been like opening up a birthday or Christmas present. It's been crazy. So that in and of itself, I'll just say, Glenn, I have felt some of my symptoms, what I deal with, gut issues, coming back just because of the stress. And so,
right.
ladies, it's like another one of our doctors always said, listen to the warning signs of your body. Don't push them aside. I just said, I put this water bottle in every single room of our house now. I said, take a sip, and I'm feeling much better today, because you're the only person that will really take care of you so you can take care of the world. So what have you found? I want to know. Give us some stories and share the experience. And we're going to, for the next 5, and then we're going to take a commercial break and come back to that. But give us your experiences of what you've seen.
Well, I've got a great story that came up yesterday. So I had a woman reach out to me in postmenopausal, dealing with symptoms. She's literally seen like 6 or 7 different practitioners. She spent tens of thousands of dollars, and she really has not received many benefits at all. Still having all the challenges and symptoms she's been dealing with. And here's the kicker. Yesterday, we got back her stool sample results, and I asked her at the beginning. I said, out of all the people you've worked with, I mean, what have they uncovered in stool samples in the past? And she said, well, nobody's ever done that. And to cut to the chase here, this woman had five pathogens in her gut, 5 detrimental bacteria that she's probably been living with for a decade or longer. And she's worked with more than a handful of people, spent literally tens of thousands of dollars. And she has probably for 10 plus years been dealing with something that could have been addressed many, many years ago, but they just didn't look deep enough. And it's kind of like, there's people who have, like a lot of people with food sensitivities. People don't realize that 86% of the people who have a food sensitivity are asymptomatic. So it's not like you eat the food and you feel terrible. Most people don't know when they have pathogens in their gut. Most people don't realize when their body is completely toxic. And most people don't have an understanding that they're chronically systemically inflamed. And these are all the things that I find out on a regular daily basis in my office and working with people online. And here's the whole thing.
Don't breeze over that. Lady saying, but I don't live in California. He works just like I do, telehealth. He does it online. Keep going. Keep going.
Yes. And it's one of those things where, and I'm looking at mostly from a hormone perspective, because everything that I mentioned there, the pathogens in somebody's gut, the food sensitivities, the toxicity in the body you don't know about, or the inflammatory response that you're living with, all of those things are blowing out your hormonal system, that HP axis that I mentioned earlier. So then when that HP axis is blown out, you're going to suffer with weight gain, brain fog, hot flashes, mood swings, the sleeplessness, the low libido, like all those things are going to happen because you're not getting to the core. And that's what I'm here for.
Okay, so I have a question for you. How did it feel to be her medical savior? No, no. I mean, she
Oh,
was probably just astounded. I mean, what kind of a benefit did you get from that, Glenn? You gotta say it must have been amazing, right?
you know what? Honestly, Jody, every day, I never work a day in my life because I
Nice.
love what I do. I have so much fun. It's so rewarding. And here's another reason why I love working with women is because women are so darned appreciative as well.
Yes,
Because when
yes.
I was having that session with this woman yesterday and I was explaining this, like she wasn't upset about other practitioners. She wasn't, she was just so grateful that somebody finally uncovered what's driving her problems and her symptoms.
Mhm.
And yes, I mean that God, I could wake up every day for that. And I do. And it's just something that and obviously you could tell I'm very passionate about what I do. Yeah, because really to me, nothing is better than helping women because women just have simply been lied to for far too many, not just years, but decades. And it's time for somebody to stand up for women and really kind of show the light of what can actually change for you from a hormonal perspective.
And now we're not lied to. We know the real deal. Get the ebook, and we're going to be back here with our commercial break. I'm going to bring you into Healthopedia. Remember, and Glenn, I've got to say, I don't know, because you were backstage. Did you hear what I said? That I wrote this on my resolution, January 2023. It's time for Healthopedia to come alive. Is that crazy or what? I had forgotten that I wrote that goal because I hadn't been in my house for a year.
That is so amazing. And when we come back, I'll tell you a story about what somebody shared with me online in that same regard.
Well, that'll be wonderful. And I can't wait. So let's just go ahead and say that we'll be right back. We're going to be right back. We are going to hear about Healthopedia from that gold card back in 1984 and just how you can be a part of this movement. Let's go, let's go, let's go, because we know that we have something special. I know that you're going to be wanted. It just gets better and better. I can say, Glenn, just being with you, Bill was right. And Bill, if you're out there, thank you for the introduction to this amazing man. But this is my introduction, the beginning of Healthopedia. Take a look, take a listen.
While being mentored and studying with the iconic pioneer in natural healer, Dr. Hulda Clark, and experiencing her life-changing practices and protocols, a goal card was written and dated in 1984 stated, "I will write the Eastern medical version of the PDR, Physician's Desk Reference. The universe delivered a sign to actualize this goal. Now in 2023, we are experiencing vision and mission into fruition. Healthopedia has arrived, led by the iconic 20th and 21st century icon, Dr. Bernie Siegel, MD, author of Love, Medicine, and Miracles, along with 42 extraordinary healing world changers that will motivate, educate, inspire, and propel you along your own path to wholeness, wellness, and abundance. Every compelling story will uplift you to your own epiphany of health isn't something you do, it's what you become along life's journey."
So now we get to hear the story of your person your woman that say, oh, it was a goal. So we got to hear this. Let's get ready. Let's go.
Yeah, and it was a woman who I was doing a presentation similar to this and talking about how you can overcome menopause symptoms and so on. And this woman basically said she got on. She was I didn't realize she was even on, and she shared at the end when I had Q&A. She said, "I just want everybody to know that I'm 52 years old. I worked with Glenn prior to reaching menopause." And she says, "I went through menopause with almost no recognition. I just started having, my cycle wasn't as regular and then my cycle stopped." She says, "I had no weight gain. I had no mood swings. I had none of all of these symptoms that women suffer with on a regular basis. She says, I didn't have one. She says, because I worked with Glenn before that, we
Oh,
addressed it, and I got to go through menopause naturally as every woman should.
wow. I mean, it doesn't that's I'm gonna that's it doesn't get any better. Get the free book. Okay, get the free book because it's that good. It's that foundations of health. Why that's why I call it, Glenn, foundational health. That's what we call it, what we do. And I can say I'm just gonna say, I want another story. Give us a third one.
Third one. All right, this is a funny one. So I'll share what I don't do. I don't typically, most women when they go through menopause, their doctors instruct them to use estrogens and progesterone. I've literally I've been doing this for 19 years. I've only used those, not even a handful of times, only in extreme cases. And I use hormones, but more at the what I would say more of the core, more at the beginning of hormone production rather than later in the game. And there was one woman who one time she was going through and she just got on her protocol. She was literally like 4 or 5 days in her protocol. And she sent me an email. And the subject line of the email said magic drops. And I opened the email and she says, why hasn't anybody told me about the magic drops? She says, I feel like significantly better already. And I was like, well, thankfully you learned about them now, right?
Right, right. And you can find out about the magic drops right here, right now, because I'll tell you something, that in of itself, when I went to your website and there we go, there it is, depkewellness.com. And I said this on the first show, and I mean it again. It was like, wow, this is, of course, I am the Imelda Marcos of supplements. I would, and my husband even said we're getting out of the rental house. We have 6-7 days until the end to do all this. He goes, "Oh, we're almost done." I said, "No, no, no, honey, you don't know what's in that hallway closet in the rental house." He goes, "Oh, I forgot about your supplements." And looking at Dr. Glenn's, of course, I have them from my clients as well, but you go to depkewellness.com and you will see, I felt like I was in a candy store again. He's got not only that, he's got the magic drops, he's got the drops for you. So I would like to go in and just say that another type of menopause is one that I went through. And we discussed that earlier on because you don't know what you don't know until you know. I had my two sons by C-section. 3 years later, I had a surgical menopause. Now, had I been more into holistic health at that point, I'd only been a health coach for 3 years. I didn't know that I could eradicate endometriosis. I didn't know that I could have kept my ovaries. And it was a complete hysterectomy. I always say, Glenn, this is one of the contributing factors. I will take this on for myself why 6 years later my husband and I divorced, because I became like the three faces of Eve. They gave me that thing called Premarin, which is horse pee, and I was on. It was the Betty Ford Clinic Premarin because my digestion just needed a whole bunch, and it was and I will say on for the records, because many people know that I'm a 20-year plus, actually 24 years now, stage 4 cancer survivor. I really believe, maybe I can save one woman who goes through this. I really believe that I contracted stage 4 cancer because of all the crap they did for me for 16 years before I got there. So that's my story and I'm sticking to it. So please expound on the natural side of the nightmare, which was the three faces of Eve, Dr. Jody, then just Jody that didn't know, went into surgery and that was the adjective for that.
And Jody is part of that lie too, right? It's just that whether a woman is going through menopause naturally,
Yes.
because of the different function of the ovaries, or if you go through a surgical menopause as you did, your body still has the ability to maintain proper and optimal hormone function for a postmenopausal woman, whether again it's surgical or natural. But it's almost, again, it gets into the fact of what you're typically told. Well, now that these have been removed, that system no longer works, so you have to take, and yeah, you're right. Back in the day, it was the Premarin, which, I mean, I don't know anybody who would even recommend that anymore. Yet at the same time, there's still not even that need for the estrogen progesterone. When you get this system working well, your body can still maintain that proper level of estrogen and progesterone naturally, as was your God-given right. And like we talked about earlier, if your body can live to 100, you weren't designed to fall apart at 50. Just makes no sense whatsoever.
No, and thankfully for through all of this, and I will say, thankfully at this point, and you'll see, and you've heard many, many times now, my partner with Healthopedia Inc., Dr. Jim Marinakis, he came into my life, stage 4 cancer. He said, we'll get this back on track. And I just know, Dr. Glenn, when you meet him in Boca, we'll say, where's Dr. Jim? Where's Dr. Bill? Where's Dr. Glenn? We'll just find you guys over in a little corner there. I can feel it. I can feel it. So, I mean, you've shared a lot of things, but before the next commercial break, let's just take a look at this. You call it a menopause relief program. Let's just take a look at that. Would you please? What is that exactly?
Yeah.
Expand on that.
Well, really, in the menopause release program, it's a combination of walking you through these 3 steps. It's getting in depth into teaching about all of the fundamentals. It includes the comprehensive testing that I'd mentioned. It includes me teaching you every in and out and every aspect, crossing every T, dotting every I, and everything about hormonal health, so you can understand this on a deeper level. Like even to the point, one of the testimonials I had at my last event, one of the women said, I was just astounded at how much I didn't know about my hormonal system. And it's also during this workshop, I also teach you individually how to read your body to have a better understanding on what your underlying triggers truly are. Because remember, the triggers are what's causing all the problems in the first place. So when you can learn how to read your body and understand what those are, now you know what to look at from a testing perspective. So you can get, really to, again, learn how to reverse the clock and feel young again.
Well, and I just had to say that taking you by the hand and doing it, just with I can see the other thing that's going to be so much fun. I just have a little surprise for our audience here. Oh, here we go. This is where you can find Glenn's book. We should have had a picture on that. I apologize, but if you go and I'm going to leave it up here. You can take a screenshot on Amazon. Fat, fatigued, and frustrated. I love the woman going, yeah, because most women feel like they're pulling out their hair. Get the book, come to Glenn's class. Know that I wouldn't be this hot on this guy. And you're going to hear in just a little while what we are up to. But thinking that you take women by the hand, because I felt the passion with what you said, Glenn. I was like, women have been lied to. You really feel that, don't you?
Oh, 100%. And they have been. And it's not fair. Yeah. And some man somewhere in this world needs to stand up for the lies that women have been told. And, I'm that man.
You're that man. And I remember I was just thinking when Dr. Glenn said, do you have room for another doctor and doctor talk? I said, if it's somebody that you recommend, he goes, oh, you just wait. And I'm going, there we go. And here we are. So before we take our next commercial break, I want to, because I know there's so much information. People, oh my goodness. I know myself. I went from brick and mortar to click and order. I do more things on live now because I still have an NDA and a non-circumvent for 100 miles around the Orlando area. So I can't see my former patients. So what my patient clients, how do you do this virtually? Say, but Dr. Jody, I heard Glenn and he seems like it's good. How do you do this? Let's say if I live in Texas, please expand on that because they may not live in California.
Yeah. And it's the great thing too, is I do live events for people coming into California. And I also do Zoom events as well. Yeah, everything that I do in the live event, I can do on Zoom. The test kits are a test kit that you're collecting your urine at home, and the test kit, once you finish your collection, it goes through prepackaged shipping through UPS, goes right to the lab. The lab does the analysis. We get the results. I show you how to read the results. I give you your specific recommendations to help you naturally balance your hormones. And then we get into, because you've learned have the ability then to learn how to read your body, that also gives a direction on what are your underlying triggers. So, and all of that can be done. I used to do it internationally, just because of challenges with testing and even shipping internationally. I really just only do this in the US though. But yeah, anywhere in the US is just as easy as being next door.
And being next door, doing a Zoom there. I know if I have many clients, you're going to hear and experience Jamie Kerr at our event, and in Boca and Glen. I'll say that I helped his mom and have her body rid itself of triple negative breast cancer. We did it. She was in Glasgow. So if you're international, you hear this broadcast, because we're all over with Traverse TV. You can still do it and find somebody that can get the same, let's say, vitamin C there and do all. You can do it. It's a little more challenging, but don't wait. Do this. And I can say, when you gave me such a great segue, did you know that? It was just
We
beautiful.
wrote.
Yep. There we go. There we go. Because the process, what people are going to learn in February with Dr. James Marinakis is exactly, Glenn, what you're teaching. Because when you learn how to read your body of disease, when you learn how to read, as Dr. Mike Van Thielen says, one of our Doctor Talk experts, he says, listen to the warning signs of your body. So let's look and see, as we're very excited about this thing called Boca. So I certainly want to give us just one little clip about the process, and let's meet the man behind the vision, my partner with Healthopedia, taking it to the next level. Because, ladies and gentlemen, these are books. Yes, we're going to write a book. Yes, we have signed a contract. Healthopedia, the foundations, putting the puzzle pieces together, we're calling it Healthopedia Foundations, will be a New York Times bestseller, Glenn, July 2024, which is pretty exciting. We'll be coming to a bookstore in California. I know how this works now, but we're doing events. We're picking up practitioners that are, as Les Brown says, what we need is a community of heart-centered, like-minded servant leaders. In our case, it's servant healers. And that's what we're doing with Healthopedia. I can take it, and I can say that I'm going to take this home after our next, we are going to take it home because we've got a surprise. Can I really, can I share with them? Because I just said, oh, we've got a book. We've got a symposium. Glenn, do we have something that we've got cooked up for ourselves? Do we?
Only always.
Always. Yes, we do. And I can say, as we have said before, our next book is The Essence of a Woman. I said it earlier, Glenn, that I have spent probably 60% of my life with women and all of my life being a woman, which I like to just kind of clarify for today's age. But the really cool thing is now we're going into phase 2. It'll be ready January. We're kicking it off, this new book, Healthopedia 2.0, which is The Essence of a Woman. But Glenn, I am so delighted and so, what can I say, just honored that you said yes to being a part of The Essence of a Woman, being that you have this expertise. So this isn't a commercial, actually. I'm just going to add this to our stage. This is The Essence of a Woman. Do you love the picture that's being a part of our front cover, Glenn? Isn't it beautiful?
Oh, 100%. Yes.
Yes, and it's going to be very pink. So I'm asking you, ladies, which pillar is you? Be it spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, social, and financial. Did you hear that call within you when you heard Glenn say, I've got a story too. Why not? We can empower each other. I can tell you right now, we're going to empower for you to rewrite your story. Where? When I give you this next slide, the desire is in you, and it's starting January 5th. We have 10 more women to put in this book, and we'll have this book, R40. Guess who our anchor author is? Glenn, what did you say when I told you on the phone that anchor author is Dr. Khalila Camacho Ali, Muhammad Ali's wife? What did you think?
Well, I told you that doesn't just deserve a drum roll. That deserves a couple of drum rolls. That is just absolutely amazing. And you know what? It just shows where you're vibing, Jody. You're vibing
Thank,
high and it's coming to you.
and she was Muhammad Ali's first wife, and she was his last because she stayed with him till the end. Now that is a story. Yes, I met her down in South Florida. I met her once before. We had a meeting yesterday. Look at her with this bowl of soup. She's 73 years young. Doesn't she look great? And doesn't my hair look kind of like I only found a bar of soap because we've been in our house like one day? Here she's holding my bestseller, 21 Days to Your Best You. Here's Dr. Jim Marinakis. I'm telling you, Jody, Kalila, if you'd been in that other seat, Glenn, we'd still be there. But there you are. You can be a part of 2.0. All you've got to do is contact Dr. Jody at my office, 800-852-0584. My cell, 678-522-3757. We'll leave up this registration thought, but I want you, and I want to just acknowledge what a great guy you are, because here you've got a party going on at your house. There was a little bit of miscommunication with the time you say, no, we're going to bring the show, bring our best. So I'm going to bring the rest of the events back to you, but I want you to, Glenn, to just leave us with your best tip, your wisdom from the hormone doctor himself. What is the last? And then we're going to say, class dismissed, go back to your party. Let's have fun. What is your last piece of wisdom, Glenn? Please share.
The last thing is I just need to repeat something I said earlier. You know, that your body is designed to maintain hormonal balance and bliss throughout your entire life. And not only do you want it, you deserve it, and it is your God-given right. So go get it.
And go get it with the hormone doctor. Feel young again. Dr. Glenn, he's remote. He's here. He's going to go ahead, and he's got an ebook. He's got everything, and he's going to have a great party. Enjoy your guests. But you know what, Glenn, I've got to tell you, more than anything, I am totally going to enjoy being with you for the next five months. As we say, ciao for now.
Bye-bye.
So, Glenn, just think about it. And yes, see, it still goes on. I'm having a little difficulty sitting on my kitchen chair here, but make sure that you go to Menopause Relief. Go ahead and go to Healthopedia. Go to this deal, because I'm telling you, can I just share my heart of what we heard that is so full? How did we know that little Jody with that ponytail in Montana said, I just want to be better. I want to make a difference. You going into the new year, think about what you want to do. Have you ever thought about writing your story? I didn't even know Dr. Khalila Camacho Ali until March. We become friends, and how now she's in the book. She's in The Essence of a Woman. You will hear, get ready, listeners. You're going to hear clips from her every single week on Traverse TV. You're going to hear these tips, the Khalila tip, the Women's Essence tip. And as she's going and promoting her new book, you saw that she signed it. You're going to hear her. Where in the world is Dr. Khalila? But you come to Boca, guess what? She is going to be there in person, sharing the process as she wants to know the process, sharing and learning how she can be the best. And it's a lot of integration with what Dr. Glenn was saying, how you can rebalance your life so you can make it better, you can feel better, and you can do this all together. So take a look, take a listen again to the one and only, the man who brought my hormone balance back, Dr. James Marinakis, who brought me back to optimal health after all of this, somewhere that brought this back to me again. What was it? He brought me back. How many of you are listening? How about bringing you back to that's what this is all about. It's going to be something that I know with 150 tickets. That's all. And we're very close to getting it sold out. So you want to be a part of the process. You want to be a part of what we're doing. And you can begin your new year meeting Dr. Glen in Boca, meeting a lot of other doctors and physicians, but going through the process together. So let's take a look, take a listen to the process. The facilitator, the one, the only, Dr. James Marinakis.
The main reason I believe people's health is declining globally is because they don't do the things every day that they need to maintain themselves. They don't walk enough, they don't get enough nutrients, they accumulate way too much stress, they don't expose themselves to nature. They work under artificial lights that damage the rods and cones of their eye, their brain, disturb functions of their liver. Everybody wants to be free from disease, and they want to enjoy a long and happy life. At the Personal Performance Institute, we teach you how to do exactly that. It starts right in the beginning. The very first things you'll do, which are simple instructions, will improve your health, and they will make you feel better about yourself. Not believe that you feel better about yourself, but actually feel better about yourself. That's what the Personal Performance Institute can do for you.
And from my personal testimony, that's what Dr. James Marinakis has done for me all these many, many years, and he can do it for you. And I can tell you, we did a quantifying factor. If you go to drjod.com /upcoming events, this is the value. It's a $30,000 value because that's the minimum that he charges to do this one-on-one. You get all of the food from the farmer's table. It's not from, no, it's not from, what can I say? We're not going to have you go over to Popeyes and do this now. It's not going to be, which is fine, but it's going to be organic food. It's going to be delivered. And right there, the farmer's table is at the Wyndham Hotel. It is just spectacular. We're going to go ahead and have this beautiful array, beautiful people such as doing their vendors like Dr. Mark Chavez. You're going to hear him soon on another show here with a Life's Milkshake moment, probably Milkshake moment. No, it's going to be Mindset Monday in 2 weeks. So you're going to get him. You're going to get all of the authors speaking, but you're going to get the process. What will we do? We will do this experience, and then we'll hear from another author speaker. We'll hear from Rex Sykes talking about NLP and the emotional pillar, and then we'll do the process again. So it's experiential. So that's what's included, and not a $30,000 education. You get your swag, you get your t-shirt, you get the book, you get authors signing the book, but you know what you're going to get? You're going to get your life back. So you can do better and feel better, whether you are a business owner, an entrepreneur, if you are the CEO of your company, if you're a mompreneur, or you just a retiree that wants to have true golden years instead of just years counting off the Social Security with a walker. It can be yours. That's what we're doing in Boca. Limited seating. Come be with us in Boca. Your life will thank you for it because your life is priceless. Only you can do what you can do. So keep this in mind. And yes, I want to put this up one more time. Here we are with Dr. Khalila Camacho Ali. I'm so thrilled to say that she is our anchor author. You're going to be seeing so much more of her in this next year because she will be a part of our community. She's delighted to do so, and she will be in Boca. So there'll be autographs to get there too. So just know that you can be a part of this. You can be a part of anything. Just go to drjod.com. Be a part of this. If you feel like your story is there, you've seen Dr. Glen. Can you imagine being in the midst of myself, Dr. Glen, and Dr. Jim in writing this book? It will be another epic process, and it will be yours and your cup of soup. By the way, that was vegetarian lentil soup. Be a part of that. Contact me. And in the meantime, just know next week, it will be kind of a year in review. We're going to do the year in review of our guests, what we've done on Milkshake Moments, but then there's always somebody new that comes in your life. I met Sean Peters, beautiful human, does all the marketing for Dr. Jacqueline Mohair of the Trinity School of Business in Atlanta. And I'm going to be partnering with him to upgrade our marketing as well. I'm so excited that that's going to be a part of Jody for 2024. So he'll be my guest. We're going to be doing a year in review. And I think that that's really important because it's always good to go back to go forward. So remember that this is going to be a process. Join us in Boca. I'm going to put up another date that you need to see. We will be doing a free event. I mean, it is so free on the 11th and 12th of January. What is it going to be about? Pristine, clean, and the five aspects of Chinese ancient medicine. So be looking for that. Be looking for those dates, January 12th, 11th, and 12th. Follow us. Where? On Instagram, Healthopedia 365. Follow us. Where? Go ahead and follow us to get the book. That's where you go to get the event. It's there. And to get everything, Dr. Jody, just be a part of me at drjody.com. Go like our and subscribe to our new YouTube channel. I'd really appreciate it. It is Healthopedia 365. It's really easy to find. But then remember that we have your back. As Les Brown says, if you feel, ladies, that you've fallen down and you say, oh, my hormones are a mess, just get up. Because at least then, if you fall down on your back and you don't know where to go, if you can look up, you can get up. And you have found the way to do this with your health with Dr. Glen Depke. You can be the change in this world, ladies, by writing your story as well and sharing it. As my great friend, Dr. Peggy Wood says, there is somebody out there. Your story is waiting for someone. It could save a life. It could save a business. It could save a soul, but it could save you writing your story. So remember, until next week with Sean Peters of Peters Connection and the executive performance, get ready to know how to perform for you and 2024, because there will be more health in store. Yes, in 2024. Health isn't something you do. It's what you become along life's journey. It's whether it's here in California, whether it's your hormones, whether it's coming with us to Boca. It's there. It's waiting for you. And we are absolutely wanting to take your hand as we say about the process. We are just waiting to see what the universe has in store. Just take our hand, each just for a little while, and see what life unfolds for you. So if it's this day, tomorrow, or any day, just know this is Dr. J saying, have an absolute healthy and healthopedia kind of day. Ciao for now.